Most people that have problems with money just need to be more like a drug addict and focus on just making money. Garrett Gunderson, he was speaking at my mastermind at the ranch this weekend, and he said, most of you guys can solve all your problems by just making more money. And so I don't know if it's about like this concept of like, I don't believe I can have money, so I squander it whenever I get it. Most people are trying to manage like too little. And so there's just no way to make it work. And so you can be the best organization and you can love money and you can have the best relationship, but if you don't have enough of it, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
And so I think most people should get out of their head and get to work and just go make some more money. Focus on money, be like a drug addict and just like chase that money. Not that money is our highest pursuit, but in that game that we're talking about right now, I think most people should just really like focus on that and just try to make more.
Yeah, I remember Mike Dillard was in the studio a year ago, and he was like, I would make a bunch of money and then I would lose it. He had this really negative mindset about it. This is a very successful man. Yeah. I mean, I know you're close to him. And so I want to push back on that, right?
Because that's a different topic.
It's a different topic.
That's a different topic.
It's a different topic. However, like, so he made a bunch of it, but then he lost it. So there is this dichotomy of like, how much money is enough? And then when you make enough, do you actually feel worthy enough to keep it? Yeah. Right? A bit esoteric and spiritual. And maybe that's not a world that you play in.
I would say
it's real for a lot of people.
It is real for a lot of people. And I would just say it's probably not like worthy to keep it. It's that you haven't developed habits to keep it. And so easy come, easy go. And I've done it. I mean, I made multi-millions and was retired and lost it all and was millions of dollars in the hole and had to redo it again.
So you've been completely broke before.
I was broke.
Yeah.
I made tens of millions of dollars and then I was millions of dollars in the hole and I had to come back out of that. I mean, I'll give you the super quick story, but I started buying real estate right out of high school, started fixing and flipping properties. Within about 10 years, turned that into about a $20 million real estate portfolio. I had built up 2 different businesses, a high-tech medical equipment business and an e-commerce business, sold both of those, Fortune 500 exits on those, crushed it. I had just gotten married. I was 28 years old, got married, built this sick house overlooking the ocean, 6-bedroom, 6-car garage, elevator, whitewater views, got married, had my first kid, and I sold everything, sold the businesses, and I was all in, and I was done. 30 years old, achieved the dream. My wife thought she hit the lottery.
Oh, yeah, she's stoked.
About a couple years later, within 4 years, the California real estate market dropped 60% in 12 months. And I couldn't hang on to all my real estate because I had no income because I sold all my businesses. And we lost everything. And now I'm millions of dollars in debt and I have no income. I have no job. I have no businesses. No one's going to hire me. I have no resume. I have no skill. Like, what do we even do? And I got to tell my wife that we have to move out of the house and I don't even know how we're going to afford to even get an apartment. And now you have nothing. And now you have worse than nothing because you have this massive hole that you got to pull yourself out of. And you've got a family that you got to take care of at the same time. And so, so I've been there. I've been those people who spend too much money. So anyway, I think that's a different set of problems. It's not that I wouldn't say it's that you're not worthy to have the money. Mm-hmm. It's that easy come, easy go. You think that money can just keep coming all the time. So you spend it fast and furious, but you don't realize that money can just turn off at any point.
Yeah, there's a discipline aspect. So
it's a discipline aspect, but it also comes back to what you said in the beginning, which is understanding the end in mind. Where am I even trying to go? And I think if most people thought like, what is my ideal life? And this is what I preach, and you were at my last event, so you heard me talk about it. I think it's lifestyle over retirement. And so for me, when I was like 18 years old, it wasn't like, what do I want to do for my job or career to earn money? It was, what was the lifestyle that I wanted to have? And I think most people should be thinking about it in those terms. And so for me, it was my friend's neighbor, and he would always have a dune buggy out front, motorcycles, he had an RV, a boat, and he was always going and doing these things. And I was like, I want to live like that. And so it wasn't like, I want to do this specific job. And the reason why I say that is because if I can figure out the end in mind, what my ideal lifestyle looks like, then I figure out, okay, what do I need to do to attain that lifestyle? Well, I probably need some passive income coming in so I could have time, freedom to go travel around the world. Well, then how do I want to get the passive income? Well, I guess I could do real estate. I could build a business and create good systems around it. And then once I have that ideal lifestyle, then I have that plan to get there. I can create the systems, and then it dictates what I do with my money. So now when I'm getting money and it's coming in fast and furious and, oh, look, I got an extra 300 grand in my bank account this month, instead of going out and buying a new Bugatti or whatever it is, like, it's like, oh, why don't I just get the cash flow to get me to my dream destination that I'm trying to go to? Mm-hmm. And so what I would say, I think in that, it's not that they're not worthy. They haven't done the hard work.
Yeah.
Henry Ford said, thinking is such hard work. That's why so few people do it. They haven't done the hard work to, what do I really want? And what is the plan to get there? And then how can I go down that path? Because otherwise they'd go, shoot, I could go blow this 300 grand on something I don't care about, or I can get to my goal faster. And let me give you a practical example of this. So right now I'm building a house in Mexico, dream house for my family, mansion on the beach, sick. But like, of course it's costing more than we thought it would. And now we're at this point where like every decision is like, do we really need imported tile from Italy, or should we just put ceramic? Do we really need this like commercial grade ice machine, or should we just get this one? And now we're looking at every cost because we're like budget's overrun, right? And now what that's done to the rest of my life is we're like, maybe we shouldn't take a vacation this summer. Let's just put that money into the house. Maybe we shouldn't do this thing right now, because now we're looking at every expense that we have in our day-to-day lives that we would normally spend and not think about. And we're going, but wait a minute, we're thinking about money on here. Wouldn't we rather just put that money into the house in Mexico so we have that forever? And so the point that I'm saying is when we're going after our dream and a goal and we're seeing it and it's attainable and it's right in front of us, it changes our daily habits. So now I think about all my spending decisions based off of this goal that I'm trying to attain.
Yeah.
And so I think back to the mindset is they just haven't defined what success looks like for them. They have no goal or plan to get there. And so they don't know what to do with the money when they get it.
It's probably a big deal too, when you lost the house and everything, that taught you some of what you're sharing now, that pain of that.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to repeat that. It's like, you don't want to have that conversation with your wife again. What did she say when you were like, hey, we're done, we have to rebuild?
You know, I mean, it was so long ago, I can't remember the exact conversations, but I was actually talking to Garrett this morning. We were working out and I was kind of giving him that little story, and just, we were talking about wives just in general. And I was just saying, like, I've tested my wife, right? She married me at the top and had to live with me all the way through the downside of that. You know, I don't remember the exact conversation, but I can say that it was 100% support the whole time, 100% trust. And was just like, okay, like we'll just move to an apartment and like, let's do it. And like, it is what it is. And, you know, it was obviously I had to start over from scratch. So how do I even make money again? And, you know, like businesses don't start overnight. And so she got a real estate license and she started crushing a couple deals, and like that really carried us through, you know? And so it was more like collaborative, like, okay, like let's roll up our sleeves, let's do this thing and let's get it going. Yeah. So I don't remember the exact conversation, but that was the actions that we got out of it.
It's so important who you marry. Oh my God. Is there anything more important? It's like the top three choices
it's your partner.
Make in life.
I mean, it's your biggest partner. So obviously a partner for a business is a big deal, but your partner for life is an even bigger deal for sure.
Bigger. Yeah.
We've been married now almost 22 years. And I mean, I love my wife probably more now than we did when we got married. I think there's also a lot of nature versus nurture in there. Meaning, I've seen a lot of friends that have, you know, bad relationships with their wives and they complain about them and things like that. But then it's like, have you cultivated this relationship to get it to that point? Like, have you done everything you could to like change it? So like an example would be, you know, I'm really open with my wife. I do the things that I want to do. I go on 5 or 6 dirt bike trips a year. I go on surf trips with the boys. You know, I'm on business trips quite often, things like that, right? And obviously there's lots of other things I do. I don't want to sacrifice my family life. I want to be with the family. But like, it's not like I'm worried like, oh, my wife's going to be like, oh, you can't go. And I know so many friends who can't take that surf trip or dirt bike trip because like, oh, my wife would never let me go, because over the years, they haven't been doing those things. And now all of a sudden they want to spring it and their wife's like, whoa, you can't leave me at home with the kids. Whereas like, we've built this relationship where those are the things that we kind of do. And then obviously that also requires lots of support back in other ways, right? Yeah. So it's like a bank account. I have to make sure I'm giving more. But like over the years, we've built this relationship so it works that way. And I think a lot of what I've seen with a lot of people is they sort of like hide a lot of things that they want, maybe the things that they discuss or are open with or their desires. And then when they want those things, maybe there's some resentment there. And then when they want those things, that relationship, that foundation is not set for them. And that's what I mean by that nature versus nurture kind of a thing.
Yeah, see, this is why I love, and the very first time we ever connected, I think you had people do like an intake video to come to the ranch.
Yeah.
I was like, look, money for me is about liberation. It's about freedom. It's not about, like you said, hey, if you're having issues in your life, like there's not a lot of problems that money won't solve, which is true. And I think really people get so twisted about money because they've never had it. They don't know it. They don't have any relationship with it. And so I think about in my own life coming from welfare, like I can remember standing in the lines at school where like you'd get the lunch for free, like the O line. And I felt shame about that. So I had to work through, especially launching this podcast business. hey, I'm actually worthy of money, and I had to really work through that. It's a blessing that you didn't have to work through that, but there's so many people out there that are just like, okay, how do I even cultivate this relationship with money, and what does money mean? Because at the end of the day, they just want freedom. Yeah. Isn't that really what this is about, man? It's what I mentioned to you when I went to your event.
It's what it's all about.
It's not about just having millions in the bank. It's about being free. It's about being liberated and
the lifestyle.
The lifestyle. And in a total paradox, it's like I'm only as liberated in my relationship with my wife, my husband, or money as my darkest secrets. Yeah. I am only liberated as my darkest secrets.
Yeah.
Either the views that I have about money, or being honest with myself about not knowing how to hold it, not knowing how to make it, not knowing how to share with my wife and have emotional intelligence. It feels like it's all the same thing, dude.
Yeah.
It feels like it's all about the same thing.
I think that a lot of people think they're chasing money. Well, they are. And if you think about like a business, right, there's like two ways to grow a business. You get more customers, you increase the value of the customer. Basic, elementary. However, most people are all chasing getting more customers, which is the hardest part. You could just make the customer more valuable. That's much easier. But also when it comes to money, it's sort of the same thing where it's like everyone's chasing money. I got to change my relationship to money. I have to go make more money, all these things. But money is like a byproduct. Money is not the thing that you chase. Money is a byproduct of the skills that you've developed and the relationships that you have. And so what happens is we have to develop the skills to get the money and keep the money. So for example, how many people go on diets and lose a bunch of weight and then all of a sudden gain it right back?
For sure.
Because they haven't built up the discipline and the skills necessary to keep that weight off, right? And so it's through the development of skills, lots of skills to make it and also keep it, and then the relationships that bring those deals together. But like chasing money by itself is sort of impossible, right? And so if you focus on the skills, learning the skills that I need to make the money, I think you'll have a much better chance of keeping it, right?
Yeah. Also communication. Have you always been a good speaker? Is that something natural?
I guess I would say yes, although I never was a speaker. But I do remember many times, I can't even count, dozens of times people were like, man, you should be a speaker. Like you'd be a good speaker. Yeah. But I never did. I never did any public speaking. And as a matter of fact, it was my old business partner. He forced me to do a YouTube video with him. I didn't even want to do it.
Who was it? Who forced you?
Jacob Canfield is his name. We were selling a cryptocurrency research trading service and research newsletter, and we were running paid ads to do that. In 2017, when Bitcoin ran from 1,000 to 20,000 in that year, markets stopped going up when there's no more buyers. And so what they did, the governments, banks colluding together, and big media, big tech, and December 2017, they blocked the ability to transfer money from bank accounts to cryptocurrency exchanges. Credit cards blocked transactions to crypto exchanges, and Facebook and Google banned all advertising for it.
So you were shut down.
So we were shut down
completely.
So we're like, oh shoot, well, how are we going to sell this product now? We can't even talk about it. So my partner at the time started a YouTube channel, and he was just doing technical analysis online all day. And then after a couple months, he's like, hey, you got to get on this channel and do some content with me. And I'm like, whoa, no, I don't do that. But once I started doing it, I found that I like it, and I feel pretty comfortable speaking now. So
yeah,
I think that's definitely a skill. I think that should be learned. I think it's maybe today. I mean, you're a podcaster, a content creator.
I think it's the top.
It's probably the top.
Probably one of the most important things.
I've been talking quite a bit about what I call the real law of attraction, and not the non secret stuff where you sit in a room and think stuff's going to be attractive. But the real law of attraction is, number one, we've already talked about, having a vision. You got to have a vision, a big vision first. Number two, you have to be able to craft a compelling story about the vision. And then number three, you have to have a platform to tell that story. And if you do those things, the people come, man. Like now that I have these platforms built, I mean, the amount of deal flow and connections and opportunities, it comes so fast. Now it's a completely different skill set. Now I have to learn discernment and focus. But that law of attraction, I mean, if you want good people, you want more deal flow, like whatever, it's just like, so the storytelling is a big piece of that.
Whoa. If you enjoyed that one you just saw, you will love this one on the screen. Click it and enjoy.